So let me get this straight. Olive Garden takes a lady's $200 tip, a server, and then goes ahead and fires her for some reason. Let's go ahead and check out both sides of the story, but this already just spells disaster for Olive Garden. Why would y'all do that to someone? Come on, y'all. Come on, Olive Garden. Do better. Let's go ahead and just take a look. This don't make no sense.
An Olive Garden stole a waitress's $700 tip, fired her, and then called the cops on her. This is a post made by Bunny Williams on
Bro, not even the cops, dude. Look, it's one thing you're gonna steal my own money, then you're gonna fire me, but then you're gonna call the cops on me? Oh, yes, we're gonna have a big old problem.
This is the mother. He writes, yesterday, my daughter received a $700 tip on a $30 tab and was obviously excited. The manager told her they could not pay it out yet and instructed her to write 0 on the tip line until it could be verified. She became upset because no one could tell her how long that would take. She asked a coworker to take her next table because she was visibly emotional, and management told her that she could either do her job or leave. She took the table and finished her shift. Later, they said they could give her 20% while the rest was reviewed. One manager said 1 to 2 days, another said up to 120. This morning, when she arrived to work, they decided to part ways over her behavior from yesterday and handed her paperwork stating tips over a certain amount are subject to manager review. Also,
That shit look like it came from Chat GPT, guys. What do y'all think? Oh, it looks like it was printed out from an email or something like that. But look, nonetheless, why would you fire her? She's obviously emotional. She got a very generous tip and you took it from her. Or maybe she didn't know the full rule book. Or maybe I was just making some shit up. I don't know. One manager knew something, the other manager didn't. So obviously y'all wasn't on the same page. Therefore, she wasn't uncertain. She was very uncertain, excuse me, about when she was going to get paid. I would be visibly angry too. And not only that, it's very common for servers to give up a table to another server if they need a break, handle something emotional. Look, catch my back, man. I got you. I'll pick up the next one, whatever it may be. That's pretty normal. For you to say, do your job or leave, managers, do your job or leave. Like, come on, man. Like, what is it here? What is it here? We're gonna go ahead and dive a little bit deeper because I'm mad for the server at this
told her
point.
it could take up to 120 days to receive the money and even called the police on her because she was
Terrible.
crying and upset. This server is a single mother to a 4-year-old autistic child, and the customer who tipped her was one of her regulars. She even posted proof of the receipt. They told her Happy Mother's Day up here, that it's been a while since they've seen her, glad that they could catch her. There is a little something to help you on your journey. Love and blessings, $700. She also shared the paperwork from when she was terminated and their policy on what happens when tips exceed 20%, which is fine, whatever. But then to proceed to go on to fire her and then call the police on her is absolutely insane. She wrote, I was let go from my job under circumstances that I believe were retaliatory despite my dedication and hard work. At my employment, I consistently showed up, did my best, and worked hard to support myself and my child. To make matters worse, I never received the tip out compensation that I earned through my effort. As a single parent raising a child with autism, every dollar matters, and losing both my job and the wages I worked for has placed a significant financial and emotional strain on my family. I am simply seeking fairness and accountability for the work that I performed and the challenges my child and I now face as a result of this situation.
Oh yes, man. Oh yes. Y'all fired this lady for getting emotional. Y'all could have handled this way more professionally. Of course she's gonna be upset, but that doesn't mean fire her. That doesn't mean fire. I'm pretty sure everybody knew she had a child that was autistic. She was a single mom. She probably was working. I don't know her work history, but y'all know y'all were down bad. And the fact that she still hasn't even collected her money is insane. But let's get into that because someone said that those funds were declined. It was insufficient funds. So the only thing I can think of sometimes when you make a purchase, there's a cap on what you can purchase for a day. So maybe this person went and exceeded that limit without knowing.
So let's get Olive Garden's attention and get this girl her money.
So I'm sure you've heard by now about what Olive Garden did to that woman. She was tipped $700 on a $32 bill. And on the receipt, the customer wrote, Happy Mother's Day. We're so glad to see you. We haven't seen you in a while. I know you can really use this, yada, yada. Wrote all these nice things on the receipt. The managers see that shit. I worked in restaurants for like 15 years, and I have worked at Olive Garden. So Olive Garden said they have a policy, which I had never heard of, I worked there for almost a year. I've never heard this before. That if the tip is over 20%, they have to review it. It was very clear on the receipt that the customer meant to give her $700. And if the card got declined, that's one thing. But you can't take away her $700 tip and fire her for taking a minute to collect herself.
For
You
sure.
only get 3 tables at Olive Garden when you work there anyway. So she was giving up a table after she had just been denied a $700 tip. That's how upset she was.
I would have been
And
upset
then you
too.
fucking fire her?
Dumb.
Bye-bye, Olive Garden. Not that I've really eaten there in the past 10 years anyway, because disgusting. You hire illegal immigrants to work in the kitchen and you work them to death. You work people, you don't have them clock in and clock in under a different number so they can work more hours. So they also don't get overtime.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah. I know all about your sick little shit. Don't go to Darden restaurants. And a bunch of them are closing anyway because, you know, shit like this, and apparently they just don't know how to run a restaurant.
Hear what Olive Garden did? Great. Story time with Bella Van.
You know what she says? Something. I'm gonna have to go back and look at that letter. We're at the 4-minute mark. Well, let's see if they said that if it's over 20%, use the CC says greater than 20%, report the daily server checkout. Man, tips exceeding 20% must be verified by the manager to ensure accuracy and prevent fraudulent entries. Man, get out of here. Ain't no managers taking their time out to go ahead and check every tip over 20%. Stop it, man. Stop it. For tips over $500 and tips for the significant larger than the check amount, they will be in well over 20% value of the check. Managers should review tips, pay close attention to the tips, require manager approval, review the size of the tip in relation to the check amount. We have experienced chargebacks for tips that are significantly larger. So what they're saying, they're arguing that they're going to get a chargeback for it. They're arguing that this customer is going to say, hey, I didn't mean to leave this tip. But it's very obvious from all the picture and everything that they left a tip. I don't know what they wanted to do. Should the guest went straight up to the manager and handed him the check and said, hey, damn, here, I'm leaving all this money. Maybe that would have cured everything. But this has nothing to do with a wait or anything, man. 20%, no manager. Look, man, I've been in restaurant business for over 20 years. No manager is taking the time out to go sit there and babysit every single check with a tip over 20%. Yeah, you can kiss my ass. Managers ain't doing that, man. Come on now, stop it and make it make sense. You can get a phenomenal server that's doing a phenomenal job. She has a story. Her story is that she's single and she's taking care of autistic shit. She's probably getting tips like that all the time, man. Stop it. All right, stop it. Olive Garden, ain't nobody really doing that. You're wild for even going as far as holding this lady's check and then calling the cops is insane.
Story time with Bella Vanzella, right? Okay, so there's a single mother who has an autistic child, and she's working to make ends meet as a waitress at Olive Garden, okay? So in walks one of her fucking regulars, and they hadn't seen her in a while, and they were just so overjoyed with excitement that they finally got seated at her table again that they decided to leave her a $700 tip on a $32 bill, okay? So this single mother with an autistic child gets overwhelmed with gratitude and starts crying, and this attracts the attention of upper management. And they're like, why are you crying at work? And she's like, oh my God, they left me a $700 tip. And they're like, well, in regards to that, right? You have to claim zero. You have to enter in zero, okay? And we're going to give you 20% of that tip. But tips over a certain amount are subject to manager approval, okay? And it can take up to 120 days for you to receive this money. So now she gets even more upset. She's not upset out of gratitude. She just had this moment where she's like, oh, finally some relief. And her manager's like, no, psych. We're keeping that shit, right? So she starts crying even more, all right? The next day she comes into work. They decide to pull her into a meeting and tell her, guess what? They're fucking firing her. And what's their reason for terminating her? Because she cried at work and they don't think that that's acceptable behavior for their...
That is crazy, dude. That is crazy. And anybody would get emotional if somebody was taking, you felt like you were getting robbed out of $700. Come on now, dog. You always working and you always doing your thing, and somebody actually blesses you with an insane amount, but you telling me I can't have it? No, indeed, no. No, indeed, no. And then if it was Mother's Day, a special day or something along those lines, come on.
Y'all, the person that left the $700 tip has entered the chat of the Olive Garden drama. I'm not going to catch you all up on this. Olive Garden, as a previous
No, I want to get caught up, man. We're deep in this, man. Hey, just wanted to give the final update after I seen everything going on. I locked my card in an attempt to block the tip from coming out. They updated the original charge of $32 to $38 and some change, so only a $6 tip, 20% maybe. Then tried to charge an entire separate transaction of $697, $93. That's not normally how tips come out. So on top of my card being locked, my bank automatically flagged and declined the charge. I can confirm they did not get the money from me. Only about $6. I'm really sorry you're going through this. I knew it was weird when I tried to ask for you specifically and they said your session was full when it clearly wasn't. Wow, something was weird. They knew something was weird. So this person was just trying to protect their funds. Wow. Okay. We don't know if this is legit or not because you can hardly tell, but let's just keep watching.
general manager. I've worked every position in a restaurant from dishwasher to a general manager, and I know for a fact we do not charge a tip separately. What? And y'all did it after. This is the customer saying that y'all tried to charge $693 after the girl was already fired. Olive Garden. Ooh, I hope she gets so much more than $700 now. I have had enough of these greedy, nasty. Ooh, y'all suck. I can't even say it all. Ooh. And you know what, Olive Garden? Y'all suck too, because the way y'all been acting with those damn Alfredo bowls. If I get a side of Alfredo sauce for my breadsticks, and you get and then y'all only fill it up halfway. Motherfucker, I paid for a cup, not half a cup. Fill it up.
I always say if you want the full story, you gotta go do the digging. So this woman by the name of Brooke Skies, who used to work at Olive Garden in Fayetteville, Georgia, received a $700 tip on May 31st and told her to write 0 on the tip line.
You know, this is so significant to me. Olive Garden told me to write $0. I ain't writing $0. You're gonna go ahead and write $0, manager. You're gonna write $0 on this because I didn't claim it. So if something's wrong or something is happening, you messed up my tip, and therefore you're gonna have to correct it. I'm not writing 0 on there and therefore 0 my own stuff. No, indeed, no. You're not. You can't force me to sign it either. Y'all better go ahead and pay me my funds. Someone signed off and authorized this payment for a different amount, wrote it out in clear words, and your ass is telling me I got to write 0? No, negative.
They spoke with a manager who appeared to be aware of the situation. Allegedly, they're saying that the credit card on file was fraudulent and or had insufficient funds. We'll get to that. They're saying that the tip is over $500, and in the handbook it says it needs to be verified, but no one has said that they have seen this in the handbook so far. They said the separation was due to a different circumstance, but when I requested to speak with HR, he aggressively hung up on me because this was where she was allegedly crying because she was upset that she wasn't getting her tip. Now, Olive Garden commented themselves on Abby Blabby's post, and to protect our guests and team members from fraud, we have a policy in place to verify tips over $500 or far above the check amount. When a tip like this is given, the team member immediately receives a 20% tip on the check, and the remaining amount is provided once payment is sufficiently confirmed. In this case, we found our policy for tip exceeded 2,000% on a $32 check, and we have verified that the tip amount was declined due to insufficient funds. This team member was not terminated because of the tip that was left on the check, and we have shared all the information directly with her.
You know, it's crazy because I told y'all it looks like a chat GPT prompt, and then look, someone commented it right below. Look, at the end of the day, we're going to go ahead and take an even better look. I mean, this is all posts from Brooke Skies, the employee, but her mom actually made a response video. We're going to dive into that and see what Moms has to say, and really hopefully she can bring some clarity to the whole situation.
From what happened yesterday, she received a $700 tip on a $30 tab from a regular customer that hadn't been in a while. Clearly wrote out $700 on the tip. So she says it's rude to pick up the tab while the customer is still sitting there, so she didn't notice it until after he left. And when she took it to the manager told her to put 0 in the tab because that was just too much money to hand out. It needed to be verified. Didn't tell her anything about how long it would take or if she'd even get her money or when she would get it once it's verified. So clearly she was upset because she's thinking that she's not going to get the money or doesn't know when she's going to get the money, and asked one of her coworkers to take the next table so she could regain herself. She knew that she was visibly upset and didn't want to greet her customers that way. Her manager then said to her that she's here to do a job, and if she can't do it, then she needs to leave.
Terrible.
My daughter then got herself together, went and picked up the table, completed her shift, and at the end of the shift, they then told her that they could give her 20%. So they gave her $6 on the $700 tip. She calls me, of course, she's upset. I said, well, if it's policy, then you just have to wait. That's just what it is, and she understood, and that was that. So I said, but you do need to probably call and find out to see exactly what the policy is. Is it based on manager's discretion? Is it a corporate policy? You need to find out for yourself.
Right.
So that was the next step for today. Yesterday was Sunday. So today she was going to go in, which she did. She went in, clocked in, and she said she came about 15 minutes early, 20 minutes early, like she always does, to wrap her silverware. And her manager, who is actually the GM, whose name is on the building, said to her that he couldn't clock her in early, that they needed to discuss something with her. So she already had a feeling. She calls me and was like, Mommy, I think they're going to fire me. I'm going to leave you on the phone because they want to discuss something with me. And I'm like, fine. So she sits down and he immediately says, she's over 18 and we don't have to discuss anything with you. Whatever she decides to tell you, she can tell you. I'm on the phone on the other end. I said, hello, hi, how are you? He goes, oh, hi, how are you? Yes, we'll discuss this with her and then she could pass the information on to you. I said, fine, that's fine. So, of course, she calls me back hysterical, crying because they just fired her. She's struggling, single mom, all the things. I'm helping her raise my grandson, Kenzo, who's autistic. He's 4. So those are all the things that are going through her head, that she's trying so hard. Just got her apartment a couple of months ago. And she's upset. So she's like, I don't want to leave because why all of a sudden do I have a $700 tip and I'm fired the next day? So they tell her while I'm on the phone with her that they're calling the police. And she's like, good, call the police because you're stealing my money. That's considered theft. So I said, then stay there. Wait for the police to come.
Definitely wait for the police.
If that is, stealing or not. So I hang up with her. She's upset. I told her, don't even say another word to them. Be in your little space and wait for the police. So I just got off the phone with her and the police did come. They did feel like she was in the right. Although they could fire her at, their discretion. I believe Georgia's a work at will state. They still do believe that it was a wrongful termination.
Gotcha.
And that she should probably get a lawyer. It's just so sad and pitiful Olive Garden would have to do something like that to this young lady. My advice to her was, to always keep your composure, gather yourself, be the adult, because you still have to communicate what's wrong without emotion. So I would be pissed too. I'm pissed for her.
For sure.
What has happened has happened. They're not going to invite her back. They're not going to give her money tomorrow or tonight or whatever. We have to now figure out what the next steps are. So there's a lot of people, when I put that post up with the receipt, that it was a stolen post or it says Brooke on the receipt. That's her name. I'll tag her. That's her Instagram, TikTok name, Brooklyn. But all of that shit doesn't matter. It matters is that this man, who my daughter said has been coming for her, it fired her. Another thing that she told me, which pissed me off probably more than the $700, is about a month ago, she was waiting in the front to get a table and there was a waitress coming through. And she said to everybody, watch out, there's a waitress coming, because they were all crowded in the front. And the same manager said to her, you need to watch out, because you're... And she's like, Mommy, he made a gesture. And my coworker was like, well, what is that supposed to mean? And he says to her, well, she's wide. I said, what? I said, he said, what? Wide? He called you wide? She's like, yeah. She said, I was so offended. And so I went to tell another manager and she confronted him and said, what did you say to her? Like, you shouldn't talk to her like that.
Yeah, man. Like, this is insane. Look, the story probably goes deeper. It's restaurant business. Mom has the right. Love the fact that your mom is a little bit more. She's very mature. She's trying to coach you through it. She's trying to help you keep your composure, even at this stage of life, man. Good for you, Mom. But this whole story just doesn't add up. I really hope that, you do find out what the next step is. And I'm pretty sure because this is so viral and reach so many people that you're probably going to have generous help from a lot of people, probably for free, to help you, man. I'm not going to lie. The autistic community, that's the one community you do not want to step up against, man, because those dudes they're just so clicked up. They just so clicked up. You get what I'm saying? So they ride for one another unlike no other. But yeah, for sure, this is sad to see, man. Big corporation, real money, real genuine service. We tell our servers, man, to go out there and provide great customer service, man. You build repeat business. This man keeps coming back, man. Obviously, she has a story to tell. That's the type of people you want to sit with, someone that's genuine, who's working with intention, working with a purpose, really motivated to give good service. You just let someone go like that for no reason, dog. This just makes no sense, man. You can just rob this lady of her gift. Let me know what y'all think about what happened. Let me know where you're watching from. Don't forget to hit the like button, hype button, and subscribe. I'll see you on the next video.